Here we go. Back into madness. Don't know why I'm doing this. The last video it wasn't even that popular. But I'm doing it anyways.
My 1-800 number, which is... She put her hand up to the air, signaling the students to react, but only a couple kids replied out loud with a catchphrase.
Wait.
1-800-BOO-HOO.
Wait,
They mumbled.
this was...
She continued. Good. Now for the rest of the class, please work with your partner on what you plan to bring and draw up a prototype sketch of what you feel your final piece of art will look like.
Okay.
Mrs. Stanley walked to the back of her room and said, "You going to bring James?" Abby asked. Smiling, she said, "I'm going to bring my hamster cage," I asked. "Did he die or something?" She laughed.
What?
"No, I never got one. The cage is just a gift from my dad." "Your dad didn't give you a hamster?"
What? She got a hamster cage, but she didn't get a hamster.
"For the cage?" I asked. She paused and started to lose her smile. At the first sign of her smile fading, I felt a crushing pressure in my chest. "Hopefully you can find something that will work with that," she said.
What?
I couldn't help but feel like a total jerk, despite not even knowing what I did wrong.
You're not gonna explain like what just happened? She has a hamster cage for some reason, and she doesn't have a hamster. Why?
Urge to fix
Is
how she
this
felt,
drama?
so I took a gamble. "Well, I could always bring that weird vibrating thing my mom hides in her drawers, all wrapped up in a cloth," I said. She busted out laughing.
Ooh. Oh. That was a stupid line. That was a really stupid line. Knowing what else goes on in this book, that was a really stupid line. How can you not know what that is?
Hysterically as a huge grin filled my face. I was so happy I could get her to smile again. "Ew, James!" She continued to laugh as the extent of my grin began to stress my cheeks. I couldn't remember a time when I was... pause. I couldn't remember a time when I was this obvious about how I felt. Abby's laughing
You gotta
tailed
take
off
breaths
and she paused.
sometime.
Turning to me, she said, You didn't actually. Your mom's?" I responded, "No, I wouldn't know about that, but I'm glad it made you laugh." She responded with returning the soft laugh.
Oh,
"You're more goofy than I thought, James." I sat next to her, looking at my
yeah.
fingers.
Isn't that funny?
My wide smile relaxed, but still filled my cheeks with warmth. As class came to a close, Abby patted me on my arm. I turned and she handed me a note. Instinctively, I put it in my pocket and said, "See you tomorrow." She just smiled and walked away. On my way to my next class, I opened the note. I didn't understand why, but it read,
Wait a minute.
"Nice one."
That's an anagram of your name. How funny. Have we even gotten a description of Abby, or did I just not pay attention or cared? I just didn't pay attention or cared.
Not knowing what to make of it with a little time, I stuffed it back in my pocket to look over later. Not feeling like skating home, I got on the bus to see all the normal rejects and misfits waiting. Davis, a short and scrawny kid who had been my best friend since middle school, despite being one grade behind me, excitedly waved me over. "James, nice to see you," he said, in seemingly the dorkiest way possible.
Nice to see you!
I smiled as he stood up, giving me the window seat, knowing very well by then that I preferred it. As I sat down...
Yes, here, let me just serve you in every single thing you want. Let me serve you.
Began looking out the window, analyzing the little humans running left and right to get on their buses. Something reached out and caught the corner of...
Okay, I should stop I should stop pausing, but... Little humans? Do you mean children? Did you mean children? Or are you just in this world taller than everyone?
my eye. I immediately shifted my head to see what it was and quickly realized it was Abby, standing in the parking lot by some beat-up sedan. "What you looking at, James?" Davis asked. Without hesitation, I began to respond. "Oh, it's Abby. She's in my art." My heart sank as I witnessed a boy I barely knew, named Seth, walk up and kiss Abby on the lips. "James?" Davis said. But by that point, his voice was a faint echo in the darkness of my mind instantaneously lost itself in.
Oh, no.
I felt like, after a life of numbness, I was finally about to truly feel warmth for the first time, only to have it all taken away in an instant, leaving me hopeless in the shadows, alone once again. I looked down at my
you're
knees, feeling as if I
you're
lost
so
all muscle control in my
sad,
neck.
Onion Boy.
Are you okay? Davis asked. I responded with hesitation. I'm just stupid. No, you're not. You're one of the coolest guys I know, Davis replied. I continued my silence
Davis.
as he offered words of encouragement. Okie dokie. Well, you're awesome, and you should be super happy. So if you want to talk, I'm your buddy. So I'm here to talk. I was too focused on the conflict raging in my mind to hear anyone at that point. I couldn't think about anything but Seth kissing Abby the entire trip home. That night, my mom was literally just serving lentil beans she prepared on a crock pot for the billionth time. A fair exaggeration, but still, it was excessive to say the least. My sister was behaving as she usually did at the dinner table, talking about how stupid she thought school was and how she couldn't wait for college.
Okay.
How was work, Mom? I asked, trying to keep my mind off the haunting images looping in my mind. Well, no one at work respects me or listens to me, and I generally can't stand it. But, you know, we still have food on the table, she said in a stern tone. My sister barked as food flew out of her mouth. Well, at least it's not high school. I'm learning about how to be a successful person from a bunch of low-income losers.
Okay.
My mom replied, whatever your teachers are, they have full-time jobs, which is more than a lot of people can say. My mom gave my sister Lisa a disappointed look. Lisa was well known for showing little respect for hardworking people. To her, it didn't matter how much you gave back to society. It only mattered how much money you made. After the rerun of lentil soup, I washed the dishes per my mom's order and headed to the shower.
Yeah, let's just skip over this bath scene and pretend it never happens, because no one wants to imagine that, Greg.
I had hoped I read it wrong the first time, and that it would make sense a second look, only to see it read exactly what I gathered in my initial passing glance. Onision, I mumbled to myself. I joked with the idea in my head that she handed me the wrong note, but still assumed it wasn't a failed attempt to say, nice one, which could be taken as a compliment if you were desperate enough. Seconds into looking at the note, my eyes widened. Having figured out what it meant, I jumped up, slipping to my feet, and screamed, yeah! I had cracked it, only to immediately after feel completely stupid for not having figured it out sooner.
How?
My mom screamed through the door from her bedroom. What? I responded, sorry, nothing. I hurried to finish showering. Staring at my phone, wearing only a towel, I smiled as I typed nice one or 647-3663 into the number keys. I assumed we shared the same area code.
But why though? Why did she do that though? Well, why did she do that? Why didn't she just hand him her number? How did she know that he would decipher it? I guess he just really likes puzzles, even though he's never mentioned it.
Otherwise, she likely would have given me a longer sequence of letters, and I was right. After 2 rings, I got an answer. What do you want? A disgruntled man's voice asked, like a bad engine struggling to start in a monster movie. I clumsily belched out a response. I was looking for... An unenthusiastic female voice in the background said, give me the phone. Whatever, he said, dropping the phone in front of her.
Whatever. I don't want to be here.
Hello? I could recognize the voice now. It was Abby. Trying to hide my excitement by maintaining a normal tone, I said,
Hey, how's it going? Me? I'm fine. It's just, I'm fine. I think I'm having a stroke.
r/having a stroke. Am I right, gamers?
this is James. Abby excitedly screamed and responded, oh my god, you figured it out! Hearing her optimistic tone, I laughed, saying, so, why? She interrupted. I was hoping to find out if you figured out what you're bringing to art class. I said, oh, and looked quickly around my room. I couldn't see anything immediately, so I just said, I'll surprise you. She then replied, oh, come on, tell me.
Wait, there's nothing in his room? Okay, sure.
My eyes locked onto a plausible item for the project. How about my bear? I'll bring my bear, I said. She replied, oh, okay. Oh, I have an idea. Instead of the cage, I'll bring in a stuffed animal of mine, and we'll make like a zombie bear. I laughed. Awesome, I said. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow, okay? She replied happily. Okay, bye. Just before she hung up, she could hear her still laughing, leaving me with a sense of accomplishment and a lasting smile, as if it were
I
painted
feel like
across
this is
my
somewhat
face.
demented,
End
but
of chapter 1.
whatever.
Stones to Abigail, Chapter 2. The following morning, Mr. Hanson approached me in the hall
Woohoo! We made it to chapter 2, people! Yeah!
before class started. "We're supposed to talk," he said in his usual stern voice. I responded, "I know, but what about?" He began gesturing with his hands as often as he did.
What?
I guess it was a habit he developed to trick people into believing he was saying something interesting. "You know you're a smart kid, but you keep showing up late to my classes, and it's becoming a problem," he said. Surprised he showed genuine interest, I replied with a smirk. "I'll do better in the future," he continued. "All right. Well, I also wanted to ask you about the TEA opportunity," I replied. "You don't have a teacher's assistant?" I watched a bead of sweat fall down his balding forehead as he responded. "The last TA moved, and yeah, you're not always on time, but you get your work done honestly and efficiently." I asked.
Yeah, you're terrible, but here's this amazing job.
"Okay, Mr. Hanson, next semester?" He authoritatively replied, "No, you can just take an elective class credit, and I'll let your teacher know you'll be working with me from here on." I immediately thought of the possibility of losing art class and rejected the idea. "My only elective is art class right now, and I don't want to give that up," I said. He took a step back looking offended and lost his temper. In a disgusted tone, he said, "Art? Art class is a joke, James.
What?
Tell me one person you know who is making a living painting pictures."
Bruh, do you want to go? Bruh, do you want to go? You want to go, bruh? I'll fight you.
All the students nearby in the hall stopped and looked towards the shouting. I looked at Mr. Hanson unaffected, reminding him I would not give it up. I wasn't about to sacrifice the one class I had with Abby for alone time with a sweaty, anger-prone history teacher. Mr. Hanson looked at everyone, stopped in the hall, and screamed, "Oh, ha ha ha! Everyone look at Mr. Hanson! He's such a goof! Move along, kids!" Everyone just looked at him as he turned back to me, maintaining his clearly frustrated posture. He then waddled into his classroom to begin class. I reluctantly entered with the remaining students to sit at my desk, which was conveniently placed with broomstick range from Mr.
Clever
Hanson's
commentary,
desk.
the
After
clever
enduring another
commentary.
useless history lesson revolving around my home state of Washington, it was finally time for art class. I walked as fast as I could without looking too awkward, in my normal fashion, only to find Abby wasn't even
Yeah, just did some speed walking
I happened to be speed walking nearby when
over to art class.
in the room. I sat down in my new seat and waited, only to see everyone but her fill the room. Mrs. Stanley closed the door to our class trailer and instructed us to begin dismembering the possessions we brought from home. I began cutting the bear with a scalpel Mrs. Stanley provided me, but my muscles seemed to work on their own as I found myself consumed with Abby again. Her
Why does he have a scalpel? Never mind. Oh, never mind.